It's kind of good, though, that, those creeps got to take a break, because I felt like cancel culture, they were kind of running out of people to cancel, As much as they wanted to make it seem, there really was a finite amount of people that took their dick out at work.
Bill Burr's unfiltered take on woke culture. Bill Burr is a name that resonates with many who appreciate unapologetic humor and candid commentary on societal issues. His bold approach to comedy often challenges the prevailing narratives, especially concerning cancel culture and the absurdities of modern sensitivities.
Just had a difference of opinion that, this isn't the first time you're going to say something and somebody's going to disagree with you. That doesn't mean that this guy can't come back. And you obviously, because of some shit that's happened to you.
We'll explore Burr's sharp observations on these topics, highlighting his fearless critiques and the refreshing honesty he brings to the table. The cancel culture conundrum. Cancel culture has become a pervasive issue in today's society, with its roots digging deeper into public discourse. Burr humorously points out the ridiculousness of canceling individuals who can no longer defend themselves, such as John Wayne. He recalls how Wayne, a cultural icon, was trending on social media due to comments made decades ago, showcasing the absurd lengths to which cancel culture can go.
Last year, where they started to try and cancel, dead people. Remember that? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, John Wayne was trending. I'm like, what, they got some found footage? You got a new movie coming out that maybe they shelved? And all of a sudden, it was all these stupid-ass woke white people, right? Oh my God, did you see what John Wayne said in Playboy in 1971? This is a bunch of fucking white people, all up in arms, about a dead white guy.
Burr highlights the irony of outraged individuals targeting a deceased actor for statements made in a completely different era. He argues that people must recognize the context in which these figures lived and spoke. He mocks the notion that a man born in 1907 should be judged by today's standards, emphasizing that societal norms have evolved significantly since then. This example serves as a microcosm of the broader cancel culture phenomenon, where individuals are relentlessly scrutinized for past actions or words that don't align with contemporary values.
John Wayne was born in 1907. That's what the fuck he's gonna sound like. Then you got all these douchebags going that's not an excuse. It's yes it is. It absolutely is. You are of your time. Look at these young kids. Remember that for a year and a half? They'd take a water bottle. They're all standing around, and one kid would flip it, and if it landed upright, they'd lose. Oh! Oh! Oh!
Burr's comedic lens sheds light on these contradictions, urging audiences to reconsider the implications of such actions. Accountability vs. cruelty. Another compelling aspect of Burr's commentary is his take on accountability in the wake of misconduct. He uses the example of Louis C.K., a comedian who faced significant backlash for his actions but ultimately made a comeback. Burr's perspective is that, while accountability is essential, the punishment should fit the crime. He notes that the public's outrage can sometimes veer into cruelty, particularly when it comes to individuals who have already faced significant consequences for their actions. Burr likens the situation to watching a friend get beaten in a fight at some point. You want to call it quits and help them up rather than continue the onslaught. This analogy resonates with many who feel that the current climate often lacks compassion and understanding. Burr argues for a balanced approach where mistakes are acknowledged but not necessarily met with life-altering repercussions. The comedy landscape. Burr's frustrations extend to the current landscape of comedy, where the fear of offending others can stifle creativity and humor. He asserts that comedians should be free to explore uncomfortable topics without the looming threat of cancellation. He compares this situation to a firefighter being told not to use water because it might affect the flames, highlighting the absurdity of policing comedians. Burr emphasizes that comedy is meant to challenge boundaries and provoke thought, and when it becomes overly sanitized, it loses its essence. His unapologetic stance serves as a rallying cry for comedians and audiences alike, urging them to embrace the uncomfortable truths that humor can reveal. Hypocrisy in the woke movement. One of Burr's more controversial points addresses the role of white women in the woke movement. He critiques how some have co-opted the fight for racial equality to elevate their own status, often at the expense of genuine dialogue about privilege and oppression. Burr humorously points out the irony of individuals benefiting from a system they claim to oppose, calling out the hypocrisy that often accompanies discussions of privilege. He illustrates this by describing scenarios where affluent individuals lament their struggles while enjoying the comforts of their privilege, highlighting the disconnect. This critique is not simply a jab, it's a call for introspection and accountability among those who champion social justice causes, body positivity and health. Burr's commentary on the body positivity movement is another area where he doesn't hold back. While he supports self-love, he questions the glorification of unhealthy lifestyles and the messaging surrounding it. He argues that there's a fine line between promoting self-acceptance and encouraging unhealthy habits, particularly in contexts like acting where physical appearance can be part of the job. Burr provocatively states that if someone is cast in a role that requires a certain look, then they should be prepared to meet those expectations rather than fighting against them. This perspective challenges the notion that all body types should be celebrated equally in every context, urging a more nuanced discussion about health and representation. Transgender athletes and fairness in sports. Perhaps one of the most contentious topics Burr addresses is the participation of transgender athletes in competitive sports. He raises legitimate concerns about fairness and the physical advantages that may exist in certain contexts. Burr questions the implications of a male athlete transitioning and then competing in women's sports, citing examples that illustrate the potential disparities in physical capabilities. He emphasizes that while individuals should live their lives as they choose, competitive sports need to maintain a level playing field. This discussion is not merely about transphobia, it's about engaging in a fair conversation regarding the nature of competition and the importance of biology in sports.
It's a great fucking joke. There is zero fat on that. You need every word of that joke. You take one word out, it doesn't work. It's a perfect joke. So whatever, nobody gives a shit. One person comes in, they don't like it, they ask the manager to take it down. He's just like, that's our sense of humor here. Have a beer, go fuck yourself. That's what we're doing.
The importance of open dialogue. Ultimately, Burr's message is clear: the ability to engage in open dialogue without fear of repercussion is vital for progress. He laments the current climate where disagreement is often met with hostility rather than constructive conversation. Burr believes that the essence of free speech is the ability to discuss difficult topics, disagree, and learn from one another. He warns that if comedians and individuals continue to censor themselves, we risk losing not only the art of comedy but also the opportunity for societal growth. In a world where many feel silenced, Burr serves as a voice for those who believe in the power of laughter and honest discourse. His comedic style may be polarizing, but it undeniably sparks important conversations about culture, accountability, and the complexities of modern life. Conclusion. Bill Burr's fearless approach to comedy and commentary on woke culture resonates with many who are tired of the overly sensitive climate that often stifles genuine discussion. He brings to light the absurdities of cancel culture, the hypocrisy within social movements, and the need for open dialogue. Whether you agree with him or not, Burr's willingness to tackle uncomfortable topics is refreshing. It challenges us all to think critically about the world around us and encourages a return to the core values of free speech and honest conversation. As we navigate the complexities of modern society, voices like Burr's are more important than ever.